Am I overreacting? My girlfriend is wanting me to attend her work's corporate party as a +1, and I don't feel comfortable with it. My 31 male, girlfriend 27 female, of roughly 2.5 years' work, are planning their usual annual company Christmas party where employees and their partners and spouses, optional but supposedly preferred, are invited to attend for an overnight stay, meal, party, open bar, etc. I've never been to the previous events due to a work commitment last year, and the year prior we were still quite a new couple. She works for a large nationwide recruitment agency, and each year a different city office hosts, and those not from that region normally stay in a fancy hotel booked by the company. They're in the process of confirming the total number of guests, and she would like me to go. As a heads up, we are very open and communicative. She told me that prior to us dating, on her first work's Christmas party, after a few drinks, she went to an after-party in one of the guys' hotel rooms and engaged in a threesome with 2 dudes from her office as a bit of a bucket list experience. After thinking about it, I've said to her that I'd rather give it a miss, but I'm totally happy for her to go on her own. She's told me that it's important to her from a career perspective, as it's good for her image, to get to meet in person with people that she works with from other regions and can socialize with the senior management, and that nearly everyone from the work's partners attend. We have since been arguing all last week, and I've been accused of not supporting her career as I've never attended her previous work events, being immature and shaming her. I really honestly don't think any of this. It was something she'd done prior to meeting me. We do hold different views on sex, as for me it's always been something special, where she views sex as something that's just a bit of fun. This isn't an issue, and has actually been good for us, as we've learned a lot from each other. I'm even comfortable with the fact that she still works alongside these 2 guys. I know she had a lot more sexual partners than me, but as she's always viewed casual sex when she was single as a bit of fun, I know deep down that it wasn't meaningful. Accepting a sexual history is one thing. People are entitled to a sex life. I'm cool with that. The past is the past, but this feels different, as it feels like the present in socializing at the same party with my girlfriend and the 2 males that have been intimate with her is a different task. It makes me awkward and uncomfortable. I thought that it would be easier to say that I'm not attending. Having asked if others at her work knew, she said yes, as one or both of the guys did spread rumors afterwards, and also has been office banter and nicknames about it. She said that it doesn't bother her. She is confident and the type that would own it. The place gives me finance bro vibes. The thoughts of shaking hands, making small talk, and sharing a table for a meal with guys who have had sex with my girlfriend is difficult. For context, we're in a good place, but we rarely argue and have recently been talking about marriage, having kids, etc., and really have a great relationship all around and don't want to do anything that would harm her out of a relationship or career. I posted about my situation on another subreddit, but I feel like here might be more helpful for me. Am I overreacting? Turns out strangers on the internet are actually very helpful. In the comments, Merrily Dreaming says, "Honestly, I do think that this is something that you need to work through. Maybe you can avoid going this year, but if she stays with this company at some point, her fiancé or husband's refusal to ever go to a work event is going to impact her reputation. I think it's better for you to just get it over with and see that it's really something more that you've built up in your head. Perhaps it would help if you tried not thinking of it as socializing. These kinds of events are essentially mandatory for her, and your behavior or refusal to show up does reflect on her. She's not asking you to be best friends with these men. Just be polite in a professional setting for a short time." And OP replies, "Thanks for your response. I do understand not attending prior or future events as a spouse is bad for her reputation, although I feel like the previous were valid reasons. Her being honest about it is appreciated, but I'm just trying to get over the social awkwardness that I have built up in my head." Peanuts and Cheese 2021 says, "She was a consenting partner in that threesome. By being upset or unwilling to go to a place because of the other 2 partners, you are undermining her choice and agency as a person. What if you wanted her to attend a wedding where your ex was present? It's not the sexual partner, it's the fact that it was a threesome and you guys are kinda making moral judgments, plus also afraid the two guys will think that they have something over on you. Is that correct? And OP says, well, yeah, I'd say you're mostly right. However, it's not the act of her choosing to be a part of the threesome itself that I'm judging. She was single at that time. It's just more difficult because it was a threesome that there are just more numerically ex-sexual partners to be around that feels intimidating. I don't know if it's me feeling that they have something over me that makes me nervous. I can accept her past and ultimately she's my girlfriend now. It's the attitude those two guys hold that could be a problem, as she's told that they spread gossip of her encounter to others in the company and use slut-shaming type nicknames for her when they think she's not around. I would feel uncomfortable and probably emasculated to hear that said about her whilst I was there. Physics Regular says, she has a reputation at work. She says that it doesn't bother her, the rumors and teasing, but I have no doubt those rumors got back to upper management. She wants to network at these parties, but her reputation will follow her. It was fun for her, but was also stupid and lacked professionalism. It was a party, but also work. It was held by the company. You get dressed up, shake hands, smile, and make small talk with who's who, not fuck them. I've worked in those office settings before. Those rumors resurface every time there is a new event. She may want you there to help redo her image and reputation. Honestly, she needs to transfer or switch jobs and do better next time if she wants to move up the ladder. You say that you're okay with her past, and I think you want to be okay with it, but I don't think that you really are. Are there other areas where she exhibits impulsive, not really thinking about consequences type of behavior? If you aren't comfortable, you simply aren't comfortable. Especially walking into a party knowing that people know and talk about your girlfriend and her past. She may own it, but that doesn't mean that you have to. I understand why you don't want to go to this, but I still think you should go to it for her sake and just see what happens. I think this workplace culture that she's in is bad. It's not good for your mental health, and it's not good for her mental health, but I think the more wrong thing to do in this instance would be to not go. Have more conversations with your partner, decide what the best course of action is, and do what she recommends. And now, on to the update, 3 months later. Hi everyone. Since there was a few update me comments on the original post, and I had a bit of spare time, I thought I could provide an update on the situation I posted about a while back. First of all, I really appreciate all of the advice and feedback I received. Both positive and negative, it gave me a lot to think about. And it also gave me the ability to structure some important conversations between my girlfriend and I. To summarize the original post, my girlfriend and I have been together for nearly 3 years. She invited me to her company's annual getaway Christmas party this year, which would involve me needing to be socializing with coworkers, including 2 guys that she had a threesome with as a one-night stand before we were dating. I wasn't uncomfortable with her sexual history itself, but I felt awkward about attending the party and being in the same table/event with these guys, especially since they still sometimes joke about it and the use of what I considered disrespectful nicknames for her. On top of that, I was worried there was a possibility I could end up being the butt of these jokes too, which made the idea of attending feel even more uncomfortable. I initially declined to go, which led to some tension and an argument between us. One thing I just wanted to clarify based on some of the comments and DMs is that I'm not ashamed of her past at all. Before we started dating, I knew due to being a part of an overlapping social group, she had a sex-positive outlook, and she was open about the fact that she had been with around 50 guys. That was never an issue for me. We may well have different experiences, as I've only been with 3 long-term girlfriends prior, but it wasn't something that held me back from perusing and starting a relationship with her, and not something that has ever been an issue. What made the situation feel different was that I'd be in a room, possibly sat at the same table for dinner, with people who were still actively referencing that past experience. I've never had to deal with that face to face, and the idea of those same people making jokes with me in the room, or even about me, made the situation feel more socially uncomfortable. So, update. After some deep conversations and listening to each other's point of views, my girlfriend helped me understand her perspective more clearly. She expressed that being the only person from her office without a partner would make her feel awkward and isolated, and possibly lacking social support during the event. She was also surprised and somewhat upset when I changed my mind about attending, as it raised a small doubt that I was viewing this with the idea of shaming her. We also had a constructive conversation around her views on sex positivity. Her confidence in celebrating that part of her life has helped me have a different perspective. She reassured me that any teasing and nicknames at work don't bother her, so why should it bother me? Any terms like slut should not be seen as insults, but instead something to be proud of, and offer her an ability to own and reclaim a woman's sexuality without shame, especially since men involved in stuff like that are held to a different standard than her. If she can be proud of herself while confidently standing by her choices, then I realized I should wholeheartedly support that as well. Anyway, I've decided to go to the event. I still have some reservations, but I realize it's important to show my support in her work life. I trust her, and if she's comfortable in that environment, I want to be too. At the end of the day, I'm happy about how open and unapologetic she is about her views, and I don't want to let my discomfort, or something as trivial as the possibility of being the target of jokes, get in the way of supporting her fully. We've had some great discussions about careers, sex, relationships, women, and society that have only made our relationship stronger. Thanks again for all the advice. It's been a huge help. In the comments, Laximum Effort asks, what kind of assholes would talk about that encounter at work? If you're going to be with her long term, you'll need to be at these types of events. If those two make any comments, the easiest is to act like you didn't hear it. Any more of that, and you could quip about how she mentioned how shitty they were in bed, or say how you look forward to sharing this story with their next girlfriend. Whatever you do, you cannot appear like you were fazed by it. And OP replies, from what I know, the company is very much a finance bro vibe, and these guys come across as bragging douchebags. But just because they view something like that this way, doesn't mean that everyone else should. They should be held to the same standard as her for doing the same thing. And now on to update 2, 5 months after the original post. Now that I'm off work, and the various festivities and hangovers have finally gone, I've had a bit of time to process and write up an update about this work party that I had previously felt apprehensive about. After posting here, could I please state that, obviously, I appreciated any positive messages and DMs that have helped me. However, could the bombardment of negative DMs about my relationship please stop? Obviously, after talking to my partner, we decided that it would be good for us to attend the night as a couple. I've gotten over my own issues and mindsets. Any awkwardness is my own doing, and that her own past choices that she is happy with are not something that I, as a supportive partner, should be holding against her, or something that stops our relationship progressing. Anyway, the venue was pretty fancy, in a nice hotel, decked out for Christmas, with decent food, live music, and an open bar, which helped. To be honest, my work nights out are pretty low-key in comparison, and also was a good way to get a free meal and night away. Meeting her co-workers went about as well as could be. Since my girlfriend works in a company with different teams in different cities, the tables were arranged like this for the meal, so we ended up sitting with her team, including the 2 co-workers that I had been worried about. Most people were friendly and welcoming, although I do have to admit the company does have the finance bro vibe that I thought it would have. There is a lot of younger people on good salaries with large commission bonuses who I can see are quite competitive, and admittedly that type of person and environment isn't my scene. I would find it pretty toxic, but I get that it's not my industry, and that's the way that these companies work. After the meal, we then moved on to the free bar for the evening for everyone else to mingle. One of the guys was surprisingly easy to get along with. He was with his partner, and he came across as genuine and didn't try to make anything awkward. He introduced himself politely, and afterwards chatted for 5 to 10 minutes at the bar with me about normal stuff like work and football. Nothing that would be uncomfortable for any of us, and honestly seemed like a decent guy. The other guy, I felt, was a different story. He wasn't rude or anything, but there was an energy about him that rubbed me the wrong way. He was there on his own, more happy to chat directly with those he already keeps company with, and had this cocky vibe. At one point, he did make a comment which could have been interpreted as a dig, but it was vague and wasn't something that I would justify a reply with if it was. The biggest thing for me was the people who said that I shouldn't go were wrong. I had this fear that we could be the target of jokes, or that people would see me as weak for being uncomfortable about the situation. But that didn't happen. Most people either didn't know or didn't care about any past, and if they did, were respectful enough to leave it alone. The advice I got here about showing up for your significant other and focusing on our relationship instead of what others might think turned out to be spot on. The only thing that really mattered was how she and I felt about the night, and she was over the moon that I was there. She told me afterward how much it meant to her not going on her own, and honestly, that made any awkwardness I felt totally worth it. In the comments, Creepy Old Guy 63 says, "It appears that you're starting to learn that the only opinion of you that matters is yours." And OP says, "Yeah, that's true." Tip of the hat to you. I would have skipped it, not gonna lie. She's concerned about her career, but she's having random threesomes at work. Interesting. And OP says, "Thanks, though the two things can be separate. Anyway, she was single at the time and open to express herself the way that she wants, but in the present, I'm her partner now, so should be supportive of what she needs supporting on." Do you think sleeping around at work is a very career-minded approach? I'm not judging her for sleeping with people when she was single. I'm giving her a side-eye because she's spinning a tale about how important it was for her career that you attended her work party. People who care about their career don't shit where they eat. You did nothing wrong. And OP says, "I mean, if people want to hold something like that against her, then that's on them, and shaming and not the view that we'd hold going forward. It was something outside of work time that hasn't had any impact on her career so far." Dude, don't make excuses for her. They have literally laws for things like this to shuttle your ass off if it gets discovered. It's the most unprofessional thing you can do, except maybe fucking a customer. And HR would have a good laugh about the "but it was outside of office hours" defense. Just saying. Nobody who cares about their career will risk it, as it will not only get you fired, but also might even chase you to your next employment. She's either extremely impulsive, or she's dishonest about how much she cares for her career. Sorry, that's just her actions speaking, not me. That workplace just seems gross. Now, I'm no great looker, so it's hardly been an issue, but don't shit where you eat is like the #1 rule of workplaces. Hence why OP got a toxic vibe. Having been to many work conferences and summits, I can say honestly that many people ignore that rule when it's in another postcode. Fierce JPM Week is a healthcare and biotech week-long group of conferences in San Fran later this month. I've heard it called Just Pause Marriage Week because the amount of staff that step out on their partner is so common, at least in the company that I'm in. Though some of those biotech salespeople do have finance bro vibes too. His girlfriend is accepting some fucking low standards at work. I'm no prude, but I really don't think that I could spin being called a slut by a load of finance bros that I'd slept with into convincing myself that it was a compliment and empowering. It's just a sense of liberation I just don't get, to be honest. The threesome isn't an issue, it's the fact that it is still office fodder and brought up in how they discuss her and refer to her. It is so gross. Yeah, I don't understand. Why have sex with your coworkers when, you can have sex with other people that are not your coworkers? And then, doesn't she know that these are the kinds of people that are going to shame her like that at work and keep it going? I don't know why you would have sex with someone like that at work if you know that it's going to harm your reputation. It doesn't make any sense. There's just a lot of delusion going on in this story. I respect OP for going through with it. I respect OP for putting himself and his relationship first. That's all well and good. But there's just so many questions that need answering from the girlfriend here that I want. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get those answers. So, as always, thank you for the story, OP. That was a pretty good one, and I hope all goes well going forward. Our next post is by user AppropriateFood5858, and it's titled, Am I the asshole here for telling my sister's boyfriend that it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home mum? So I, female 22, have an older sister, female 28. She has 4 kids. And she loves being a mum and wants to be a stay-at-home mum, and I encourage her to do whatever she wants. She herself understands that I have no desire to be a mum right now, if not ever. I have 2 older sisters who are like me, who don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. This is important in the story. Her boyfriend, male 27, is mad at me because he asked me when I'm going to settle down and says that he can introduce me to his friend, male 25, who wants a stay-at-home wife. I told him no, that I don't want to date anyone this year, and he got mad at me for some reason and asked me why, so I told him that my ex-boyfriend left me with trust issues. My ex cheated on me for 6 months into a 3-year relationship. He told me we broke up in 2023 and that I should start getting back out there. And I told him that it's not his business and he dropped it. But 2 days ago, he asked me if I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. And I told him that no, I don't, and I'm not even sure if I want kids or let alone be married. He got defensive since his mum was a stay-at-home mum and wife. And I told him that I don't see anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mum, but that I don't personally want to depend on a man for anything, and he once again got defensive and said that not all men are the same. I told him he was correct, but again, not all women want the same thing. And he said that my sister wants to be a stay-at-home wife and mum, and I told him congratulations on finding that with my sister, but that once again, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mum. He got mad because he overheard my conversation about me getting an IUD as well, and told me that I'm ruining God's plan to make me a mum one day, and I told him whether I want kids or not is not his business. He got mad at me and told me to get out of his home, so I did. My older sister is asking me to apologize to him and to not get an IUD since if I get pregnant, that it's God's plan. And she also told me that I should reconsider being a stay-at-home mum/wife. I told her not everyone has that dream, and she accused me of not respecting stay-at-home mothers and wives, which is nothing but lies. My other 2 older sisters are on my side and said my sister's boyfriend shouldn't be concerned with how I live my life, and that if I don't want to depend on anyone for the rest of my life, then that's my choice. He also said that I'm going to hell for being bisexual, so I screamed that I guess his girlfriend, my sister, is going to hell as well, because she's bisexual herself, which he already knows about. And now their friends are calling me an asshole, saying that he only cares about what I do with my body since it's God's body, and I should respect it and become a mum soon. So am I the asshole for telling my sister's boyfriend that it's not his business if I don't want to be a stay-at-home wife/mum? Edit to clarify, I did put this in some comments, but 3 of her 4 kids aren't even his. My sister has a 7, 4, 3, and soon-to-be newborn. Edit 2, I get asked this question a lot about why I was discussing getting an IUD with my sister's boyfriend. I wasn't discussing it to him. Me and my 3 sisters were all discussing it at his house, but he wasn't there. He walked in though when I said that I was thinking of getting an IUD, and that's when he butted into the conversation, and as soon as he said God's body and not my body, me and my 2 other sisters started talking to him about it, and he raised his voice, so I raised mine, and we eventually left since I don't like conflict at all. In the comments, Natural Inevitable 50 says, "This guy sounds like a creep. Who is he to dictate what you do with your life, your career, and your body? I hope your sister knows about this and supports you, not the asshole." And OP replies, "My sister who is with him wholeheartedly supports him and that I should be a stay-at-home mum. She wants me to apologize to keep the damn peace, but I told her that I'm done keeping the peace." He also supports the abortion ban, which is his opinion. I, on the other hand, am pro-choice. He wants a national abortion ban even for rape and incest, which makes me nervous to be in a room with him right now. She also supports this. Leela Lolly Love says, "Not the asshole. His views on stay-at-home mums and traditional gender roles are his own, and he shouldn't be imposing them on you." Well, he's not really that traditional. He's not married to the mother of his child. People are traditional only when it's convenient to them. I don't think you're the asshole for telling him that it's not his business that you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. because it's literally not. He's just being a sticky beak and imposing his worldview on you, which is wrong. Like, I didn't think that that was a touchy subject. I didn't think that that's something that people would be like, actually, you're an asshole for not agreeing to him. When he speaks, you should listen and nod your head. You arguing with him? That's not very ladylike of you, OP. That's not very traditional of you. You should agree with him. You're an asshole for disagreeing. Like, that's what it sounds like. Am I living in Crazy Town? Do people actually think that? Obviously not the asshole. And now, onto the update 2 days later. So this is the update. I already knew that I was going to go no contact with her boyfriend, as I don't feel safe around him, but I went ahead and called my sister to tell her why I chose no contact with him. And she's now super mad at me, saying that I overreacted and all that fun stuff. So I asked her if they were going to apologize, and she said they don't owe me an apology, and in fact I owe him an apology. He overheard us on the phone, and once again got into the conversation, and I told him that I have nothing to say to him. He told me he wanted to know an answer to 2 of his questions. Why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mum. I told him that it's none of his business, and to stay in his lane. And why I don't want to date and marry his friend. I told him that he isn't my type, and never will be, and to not talk to me again. He told me if I don't stop overreacting, I won't have anything to do with my nephews and niece. And that, I'm not gonna lie, got to me. And I told him for my mental health, I'm done being/talking to him. And my sister said okay, you made your choice, and we will make ours. So now I'm no contact with the both of them. Also found out, my dad found out yesterday and this morning after I was on the phone with them that he went and yelled at Josh and told him to back off. And that his daughter wasn't for sale or anything like that, and they got into a fist fight and apparently my dad won. I'm not totally sure about that though. And my dad called me and apologized and asked me personally why I don't want to be a stay-at-home mother, so I told him the reason, which had to do with my dad and stepmom, and he apologized to me, saying that he never meant to do that to her. He was very abusive to her. At one point, I saw him choke her and screamed, and he let her go but never apologized for it. So I decided to cut my sister and her boyfriend off, which sucked because I won't be able to see my niece and nephews anymore, but my mental health and physical health is more important to me, to be honest. In the comments, OP says, there is one more thing that was said that I forgot to mention. So in my last post about this, there were so many people telling me to ask him when he's going to marry my sister since they're not living in God's plan. So I asked him, and his response was, it's not my business to know. Which I said, then it's not his business to know anything about what I do with my body and who I date and all that. He got angry with me and proceeded to cuss me out, and I honestly just laughed. New Fishing says, so it's his business to know about yours. It's like he's trying to groom her to be a sister wife or a communal wife with his friend. Creepy. He probably promised his mate he can have the sister. Wait a second. So he's a traditional man who wants a traditional setup, and yet he's not married the OP sister yet? Like, marriage is the first step. What are you doing bringing all these bastards in the world, and god damn it, why are some women functioning on a single brain cell? Why don't you want to date my friend? Well, if he's willing to be friends with someone like you, there must be something very wrong with him. Dude, I don't understand all this stay-at-home mother stuff lately. It's 2024. Who can afford to support a family on a single income? I'm college educated, own a home and a car, and I struggle to support my dog and myself. I mean, I can do it, but adding in more people and mouths to feed? Yikes. Owning a home and a car in 2024? My god, look at Mr. Moneybags over here. Back in my day, I had to get up in the morning at 10 o'clock at night, half an hour before I went to bed, eat a lump of cold poison, work 29 hours a day down the mill, and pay the mill owner for permission to come to work, and when we got home, our dad would kill us and dance about in our graves singing hallelujah. And you try to tell the young people of today that, they won't believe you. And again, as hard as it is to go no contact with family, I understand that is a difficult thing to do. It's for the best to not be made into a sister wife, Jesus Christ. You will talk to your nieces and nephews in the future when they realize what a shit show their family is, and I'm sure they will be empathetic of you, OP. I'm sure they'll understand where you're coming from and why you had to be cut off. Anyway, all the best for you. That sounds like a terrible situation to have to deal with. I hope, she gets rid of him one day, but I don't think she will. It doesn't sound like it. Thank you for the story. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.